I'm having 9 pleats. That means I'm going to have 10 spaces. So 10, so the spaces now is 39.5. So 39.5 divided by 10 equals 3.595. Now that's too small. That's almost 4 inches. 4 inches. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I want my space actually to be a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to round down the 7.5 to 7 inches, and then I'm going to up my space to 5 inches. So my starting, I'm going to leave it at 2 or 3 inches. I'll do 3 inches. Just in case I get that 1 inch overlap. So that's 3, then 7, and then back to 4 inches. No, 5 inches is what I said. 5, 7, 5. Right, so now I've got space at here, and I've got space there. So I've got 7 inches here, and I've got my 3 inches here. So that worked out fine. So to double check, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's start again, because that 1 is a half. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the 2 halves make a 9. I've got 9 spaces, right? Now if I double check that 9 space, 9 times 5 equals 40 inches. What did I want? I wanted 39.5. So I've got 3 inch extra. That 3 inch extra is that I don't want it to be, when you pull the curtain, it's absolutely tight. Because what these buckram tend to do is they get cold and they bounce back, always leaving a gap. So I always like to have more than the fabric for the width of the window. So 45 works out fine. If I had 45, that means 45 on this side, right now, that means I've got 4.5 inch extra on each side. That's brilliant. That's right. Now that I've done that, I will take a pin to determine where it is, and I put a pin to remind me what is what. So the pin is now going the other way, just as a reminder. On my 5 inch pleats. Now that I've done that, I'm going to now put the other curtain on top of this one and use this one as a template to mark the top bits where I'm going to do each one of the pleats. It's at this point the curtains are now really heavy. we are at a position now, they're on top of each other, and now I'm going to copy what's underneath and put the pins in exactly the same place to make sure that this is mirror image to the one underneath. Here's what I did. There are the two curtains. Here's the top bit. Here you can see a pin going across. Wherever there's a pin going across, that's where the space is. Can you see the pin there? And the pin there. So that's my space, which was 5 inches. There's my space, which is 7 inches. So we've got space, which this first one is 3 inches, right? Because if my space is 5 inches, then half of that's supposed to be 2.5, which is here. But I allowed an extra because just in case it overlaps, which is very unusual to get anything that's on a pole with a center bracket in between to overlap. That's a nuisance. So here we have all the way down, and on the other side you will see the pin is there as well, the space, and the pins are up the top here, right, which is a mirror image. So all the way along, all the way, you've got space, pleat, space, pleat, space, pleat, space, pleat, all the way along. Then now it's ready for me to top stitch here along, and then when I've top stitched that on both sides, then I will start. The two pleats go together, I'll fold it over, and I'll show you that next step on the machine. There's the first 7 inch. So we're going to stitch this one up and we're going to work our way down. There's the reminder, there's the space with that pin in the middle. That reminds me, there's the pin. So first of all, which I've shown you on the previous video already, right, is at this point here where I put the two pins together and I crease it because it naturally has a 90 degree, so when I fold it here, I don't mark things out, because when you fold it naturally like that and line this up, you should automatically get your 90 degree going that way. So that's what I do. I do that, crease it up, and then I follow that line when I'm stitching. And because I've got a stitching line already down here, that's where I stop, right on the line. So that's my first one I'm going to do. So I now remove the pins, because I've got a guide mark of the line. Can you see how thick it is? So there's my first goblet so far. When I open it up, you could either have your goblet, or we're going to go on to pinch pleat. But this, you see why I do 7-inch, because that's a big nice goblet that looks like something you can drink out of. And then when I do the pinch pleats now, I lay it flat on my machine. I've got my center, and I squeeze it down to form the 3 pleats. And I check it by moving it side to side, that they're equal, and then I close it up. So I've got my first pleat here, and then at the bottom here, you do not try and sew on the buckram. You find the space underneath it and you sew it. Well, I sew it by machine because I try to do less things by hand. So I sew it with a machine, and then I will move from this machine and go to that machine up there, which can handle bulk like that. And then I'll do the top bit. So now we turn it sideways. Give it a good old back stitching. Now, some people just tack there, but what I do is I come down to meet that angle there. Then you open it up, and there we have our first pleat. Can you see how thick that is? That is good. And the reason why I like to have a bit more here, 5 inches, whereas sometimes when you do 4 inches, you see when the curtain goes back on itself, I like it to really go back there and give you a nice pleat. So that helps to form a nice pleat when they're forming down, when your curtains are opened. So here we will continue and do the rest of them, and I'll just move on. So we're going to do another one. There are the 2 pins, and I do the same again, making sure that the lining underneath hasn't got caught. I'm creasing it there to make sure I've got my right angle. I've got my right angle there, and I know I've got a right angle because these 2 here are straight, so that goes naturally. So then I fold it back on itself again, and I make sure that this is straight with this, so I know I've definitely got a right angle. And that's why I'm able not to mark it all up with the chalk because I rely on my eyes. And the crease, can you see there's a crease there? That's what I'm following. It's advisable to really have a good strong cotton at this point, because this is where it needs it. It's advisable as well that when you're doing this, if you wear glasses, put it on to protect your eye. Here comes the second one. Checking it, checking it. Go for the middle. Check it. Right, I can see there's a pin here. Advisable to move the pin. This happens a lot. Now it's time to take these pins out, but what we have to do now is to work out the distance for these to go in. Alright, so we don't just put them in willy-nilly. We want, depending on the type of rings that you're using, you want to be able to judge the distance of where it's going to stop. So we want this hook to come up to there because we want the curtains to finish under the rings, like that. We don't want the curtain to end up there to hide the rings. What is the point of that? Having the curtains on the pole and you hide. Let me tell you this, because I've come across this where people wanted to go all the way up there to hide their thing, but you've lost the effect of having the curtains going back on itself, because each one of the rings are obstructing itself. So that's why it needs to sit underneath. So don't fall into that trap of buying something you think is ugly and you don't want it to show, or you've got a pole and you might as well go and have a track then. But so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to work out now roughly, I say it was normally 1.5 centimeters roughly to start pushing these things in to arrive at where you want it to go. So that's too high up, so it looks like it's 2 centimeters, so it stops there. So let's check it. Yeah, it's 4.5 centimeters where we start to dig it. Now, we don't dig it through, we don't pierce it through the stitching that we've just done. What we do is we go alongside the fabric and stick it and pierce it, in the buckram and the fabric. So it looks as though it's going through that stitching what we've done, but don't, because after a couple of years, cotton, you're putting so much pressure on the cotton, it'll start to rip and rip open. So that's what we do. Now let's just check how far this up this is. That looks fine. So that's what you'll be looking at. It is difficult, yes, just that. And look, it looks like it could go up a little bit more, but that's it. If it's too far from the floor, then we'll move it up a little, but that's where it is. Now each one of these are different when you buy it, so you have to check the distance here. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to measure along 4.5 centimeters down and put these in. Now, here, some people now just put it there and stop and forget all about this, and have this flapping around. No, let's not do that, shall we? Do you remember here? Do you remember I said I want this to overlap a little? Because those are in the way, it cannot overlap. It's always nice to put one at the side here, but you can adjust it and move it. So what we do is, at the end, you judge where you want to put it. We pierce the buckram, and hopefully that space there is enough room for that little bit of overlapping. Okay? So we've got just a little bit of overlap, and now we've got back our 5 inch of space here. Yeah? Because I gave it 3 and 3 at the other side, so we just about got it back. So let me carry on with this. Here is another tip I'm going to give you today. When you put your eyelid, your rings on it, this bit here, just squeeze it down. Squeeze it to make sure that they don't come out. So it's basically closing it up. Because I have no idea why they come off of these things, but they do come off. So just close it in. Oh, this is a nuisance. It's because I need the curtain weight to keep it on. Just trying to show you, getting the effects. What I'm doing is pushing all that 5 inches behind so you can see the pleats in the front. Now, this is almost a bad example because the pole is too small for this, but anyway, can you see the beauty now? And then at the back you've got all this at the back here, and that's how it should be. So you have to set the pleats so it looks like that. Okay, so this is not heavy. So there it is. Oh, I just love it. They just look fantastic, if I say so myself. But these are not my curtains, but they do look good. But do you understand what I mean? All these are now underneath, so the curtain, this can sit comfortably underneath this, and that's what it's about. Don't have it sitting up the top here. You're bringing the pleats, this bit here, forward if you do, and you're losing the effect that what you're supposed to have. Thank you for watching my show. I'll see if I can convince this woman if we can come into her home and see them finished. Bye. Right, so hello. As you can see, I'm actually at the customer's house. She's allowed us to come in and take some pictures and to do this video of the finishing of these curtains. Now, you've seen the making of them. I've got part 1 and part 2 already on YouTube, and now we're about to do part 3. So here I'm finished it, and at the moment you can see behind me, I've now steamed these curtains, and they're now finished and they're setting. So they'll stay like this for a couple of days, and when she opens it up, as you can see with all the other videos I've done, all the other curtains, the pleats will be nicely set, and it will be there for years. So as you can see at the top, the pinch pleats are all nicely organised, and down the bottom you will see, and as the video runs through, you will see it's all uniformed. As you can see down the bottom here, it's nicely uniform, and it's just about touching the floor, so it's exact. Well, another job well done, if I may say so myself. And over here I did a small Roman blind. That will also complement this dining cum kitchen. As I said, thank you for watching my show. My name is Desiree Jordan. My company is Des Swags. Please have a look through all the videos. I have 197 videos. Please, there's something there for everyone. Bye. Right, once again, guess what? My customer has allowed us to go into her home, so she's allowed us to put this on YouTube, and she's standing right next to me. YouTube, meet my customer Lorna. Lorna, my customer.
Hello.
What do you think of your curtains now?
I'm very pleased with them. Desiree was recommended by a friend, and I contacted her. She came, she measured, she went through the different styles with me, and then I said to her, oh, I wanted pinch pleat. She was more than happy to do it. We went, we got the material, and then she took them to her sewing room. I went there, saw what she does, and then Christmas she handed them back to me. She told me how to put them up, which I came back and I did. I was happy with the result, and now here she is to do the final touch. She's steam cleaned them. She's told me to leave them for a few days in order to get the pleat set. I'm so happy, I'm so thrilled. Desiree, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I will be recommending you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that just reminded me, how long did I take to do this job? It took me 4 days?
Yeah.
4 days from the time you gave me the fabric.
Yeah, it
And
did.
here we are, voila.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And I'm very pleased. Everyone in the family is pleased. And I've even taken pictures to show my work colleagues. I'm so happy. Thank you.
Well, thank you for allowing us to come into your home. They look fantastic, if I may say so myself. But then again, I can't help it.
And she'll be doing many more for me. I've got the upstairs for her to do, my bedroom and then my front room.
Well, yeah, let's go have a look at it now.
Yes,
All right, okay,
we will.
Thank you for watching our show. Bye.
Bye.